What is up, guys? It's your boy Gage. I want to bring you guys an awesome, amazing high school stories for you guys today, and this one is actually pretty amazing. So I'm gonna tell you guys right first off a story and something that not even my friends and a lot of people know inside of my life. And you guys know that I've been at this high school, the high school that I'm at, my whole 4 years of high school, except one semester. Not a lot of people know the fact that I actually went to a bad kid school, the kind of school that you go to when you're on probation and get in trouble, and they're like, all right, we got to take you from this public school and put you inside of this bad kid school. And I'm just calling it bad kid school. It has a name, but let's just call it bad kid school for now. But a lot of kids that cannot be around other kids and cause not drama but problems or get in fights or something like that at a public school. They usually not if they do put you on probation, but if you're constantly making problems, you're constantly being the class clown or getting kicked out of class or something like that. Let's just say you're that bad fish out of the dozen, so they take you out of that so you don't ruin the rest of the dozen and put you at this bad kid school, which is kind of, in one idea, that's smart, but in the other, you're putting a bunch of bad kids together, so that what do you think's going to happen? A bunch more bad things. So, anyway, so moving on, going back, you guys know that I actually, and if you guys don't, I think I talked about it once before, but I'm just going to kind of remind you guys that when I was in 6th grade, I got into this little fight, and this kid was picking on me for 4 or 5 years. But finally, one day, I was walking down the hallway in 6th grade, and he called me a fag, and I got so mad. So when he walked by, I elbowed it, or I, hit him with my shoulder, and I just shouldered him, and he fell back, and he got back up, and then me and him, and I remember being all crazy. I'm like, what? You want to fight? And I'm moving all fast, and I'm like, what's up? What's up? What's up? But I thought I was just doing all this cool thing, but in reality, I'm going, come on, come at me. Yeah, doing all that weird stuff. Moving on, but seriously, I got in this fight, and it was more of a really kind of hit thing, like kind of punches like this. We were just little 6th graders, but I finally stood up for myself. I mean, this kid has been bullying me, picking on me, pushing me in corners, hitting me, punching me, pushing me off things. I remember just getting in just all this stuff, and I never did anything back because I was just a little, just a little nerd kid, and this kid would always just push me and bully me. Finally, the day I stood up, what happened is. He gets to stay at that school, even though I stood up for myself, and he just gets a battery. But me, I also get on probation, a battery, and kicked out of that school and go to another school. And if you guys remember me being on other high school stories I did, I was on probation twice. So that, like I said, the first one was for that little fight that I had, which was just nothing, but it was, it's still a fight. A fight's a fight. So, anyway, when I go to the bad kid school, I stay there for 6th and 7th grade, and now the beginning, I actually had the choice of going to public school, but I was like, no, I'm staying here because all my friends, all the bad kids that I started being friends with and hanging around, and I actually went to this school in 8th grade, so I was like, I don't want to go to public school, I just want to stay at, this bad kid school with all of my friends, people that had my back. So what did I end up doing? I ended up going to there for my very first trimester of, my high school life, my very first try of freshman year, which is just crazy. So what happened is when I first walk in, and this is the very first day of school, guys. I remember, this is back in the time you guys heard me talk about kind of Sad Sam, my boy Orion. He used to have these days where he's always depressed and sad, and we kind of called that whole time in his life the Sad Sam days. And mine, I used to think I was this thug kid. I had this stepfather that was always like thug gangster, sold drugs, kind of bad gangster guy, and he was just all this gangster stuff. So what do you do as a father figure? You kind of copy him. So I turned into this in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, or the beginning of 8th grade, I should say. I always had my hat sideways. I had my pants off my ass. I wore all these chains. I wore a white hat, white shirt, white clothes all the time because that was the gangster thing. I was always clean, kind of like that, just like a white gangster kind of thing. And so I call this time period in my life these Gangsta Gage days. But of course, finally, I grew up out of it. I mean, I think I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty thug. No, but for real, guys. I call this the Gangsta Gage days just because I thought I was a gangster, but it has nothing to do about me actually being a real gangster, because now I know what a gangster is, a gangsta, whatever you want to call it. I know what that is now, and I'm far from, I have gangster friends, I guess I could say, but even, gangster when you see one. I mean, they're freaking, they got their respect, they're cool, they're nothing against them in general. That's just what I called myself because I thought I was, And plus, I hung out with these kids that really were gangsters. These guys were thug G's back in the day. Right, you should see them now. Now they're even more of anything like that. Some of them actually are a true gangster, respect. They're cool people. I'll see them run into some of them. But the other ones think they're gangster, but they're the kind of ones that get in trouble 24/7, and I know a couple of kids that are actually still behind bars since I was in school with them. So pretty crazy. So anyways, jumping out of this time period, getting into the real story. Finally, first day of my high school life, and I go in there with all my cool kids, and I'm wearing my stuff, and I'm wearing my pants down, and you have to wear, it's all uniform, like a screen uniform you have to wear, and then you have to wear slacks, you have to wear shoes. If you had tattoos, you had to cover them up. You couldn't have any like crazy hair. They might have accepted this hair, but like if it was like blue or pink or out of the ordinary, like really out of the ordinary, they'd make you like shave it off or wear something over it, or bleach it again to dye a normal color. Like it was just like a legit school. You had these things you had to look like. If you had piercings anywhere, you had to take out the piercings. You just have random holes in your ears, like stuff like that. So it was just it was a really strict school. But I remember walking the first day, and one of the biggest things is you cannot sag your pants. Cannot sag/bag your pants. I went in there, I thought I was all cool and stuff. I had my chains and I had my pants below my ass. I had my hat sideways and stuff. The first thing, and I remember I ran right into the resource officer. He says, "Come here." Rips off my hat off my head, and he literally goes down with my pants and pulls them up. And he's like, "Get to class. I do not want to see you doing it again." Finally, about say a month and a half, 2 months go by, and I've been in his office for, being, clowning around, being kicked out of class. I'd be sent to him. I got, I didn't get in fights, but, I got in, these, pushing each other kind of things I used to do with other kids. Just, stupid things, the stupidest things you could think of, throwing stuff in the classroom. The teacher kicked me out of class, go to the resource officer, and, of course, I got caught sagging my pants a bunch more times. So, finally, he came into our class, and it was about a month and a half, 2 months later, and he says, "If anyone sags their pants, I got these zip ties right here, if anyone does it again." And I'm like, oh, come on, zip ties, okay, those are totally going to keep our pants up. And I'm just talking to my friends, making jokes, like, "Hey, I'm talking about you, too. I see your pants below your ass all the damn time." And he was, really swearing, too. And I'm like, I'm okay, I got him, So finally, a couple days go by, and I've seen actually a couple kids get zip-tied. But, I still sag my pants every time I see them, kind of slowly pull them up real quick. But no one ever caught me. But finally, a couple days go by, and I'm walking down, and it's lunchtime, or about to be lunchtime, I should say. And I'm walking down the hall with, all my friends and stuff when we head to the lunchroom or something like that. When he sees me with my pants below my ass, he says, "You, come here." And the whole class stays and waits for me, and the teacher's there and everything, and he says, "Your pants below your ass, come with me, we're all gonna go, you're gonna zip tie you right now." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine, let's go." And the whole class, "Oh, can I see this, and the teacher's like, "Yeah, let's go." So then my whole class and teacher following me to this room where I'm about to be zip tied, basically, to keep your pants up. So now I'm in here, and he's like, "All right, lift up your shirt." And I'm in there, and my friends are everyone, and I know, but by the time I got to the bottom stairs, I didn't have it really chance to pull him out because he's kind of watching me. It was kind of I wanted to pull him up, but I didn't want to be embarrassed. I was trying to make it all a joke, so I didn't really. But when I get up there, and he's like, "All right, lift up your shirt," and just to kind of show you guys what happened here is my pants, when I lift up my shirt, and my pants were literally down to here. You could see a little bit of skin underneath my underwear because my pants were so saggy, guys. They were legitimately that saggy. And what happened is when I lifted up my shirt, my stuff was you could see the bulge of it in my underwear. And I remember when I lifted up my shirt, the teacher and all the kids were like, "Oh!" And I remember that I'll never forget this. The teacher goes, "Oh, we almost seen your ding dong," and everyone just starts laughing. And my teacher said this, my teacher, and I was like, "What?" And I'll never forget that line. Everyone's just laughing. He's like, "All right, first of all," and the heat cop is turning around, "Pull up your pants." So I pull up my pants, and so what he does with these zip ties is he grabs two of your loops that where your belt is, and he pulls them really close together like this, and he zip ties them. So he ties these two together as tight as he can. That way you can't pull down your pants. So now I am here with my pants all the way up, but what happened is I pulled them up too far, and when he zip tied them, they were literally, let's just show, up here, they were zip tied like this together. So I had my pants really high up, it was up to my belly button. And because he did it on purpose too, but I didn't really notice how high he did it until the zip ties were tightening and squeezed onto me. So now it was, now I remember, it wasn't to the lunchroom, we were on our way to an assembly. So what happened is we finally get to we go inside the assembly room, and this thing's up, and I sit down, and I'm like, "Ow, ow," and I'm kind of hurting my area, and I'm trying to pull the pants down, but I can't because they're literally that tight on me. So I'm sitting here trying to get them off, but you try getting off a zip tie. that's super tight with your fingers. It's impossible. I'm looking around for a pencil or like some kind of paper clip, especially scissors, something, and nothing's there. I just sat there, and it took me about a good, like, I think it was like 15 minutes. Like, it was like 10 minutes before the assembly was over, and the assembly was about an hour long. So it took me about 50 minutes. I'm sitting here the whole time trying to take off these zip ties because I'm like killing myself. And then I finally get them off, and then this is the best part. So as we're walking out of the assembly, I'm walking down the stairs, he sees that my zip ties got cut off. I wasn't sagging my pants, but you could see my zip ties were cut off because my shirt was like kind of up, but like so you can kind of see it. And one of the zip ties was kind of hanging off, but I don't know why I didn't take it off, but he's seen him that it was broken off. So what happens, they go to class, but he says, Gage, come here. And I'm like, oh no. Pulls me in. Guess what he does? Same thing, except this time he didn't put it so I put it the right way, but he zip tied me. And that way I was... That's my high school story of where I got my pants zip tied twice in the same day for sagging my pants. So, kids, it's not that hard to do. Keep your pants above your butt. It is not hard to do at all, especially at school. You guys do your own thing. You guys just do whatever. But I'm telling you right now, like, if this is the kind of stuff, like, especially at this bad kid school, you do this, and it got to the point where I actually did it again a couple days later, and I actually got not a ticket, like a police ticket, but it was like a ticket of where you had to do detention, and I had my parents called, and I had a bunch of stuff happen, and it was just bad. I had to eat like bagged lunch, which was tasted so bad. I remember it's the worst peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever eaten in my life. When all these things happen, just because I sag my pants. So you guys can sag your pants, like you guys do whatever. You guys be yourselves, do whatever you want. But like when you're in situations like this and you have to keep your pants up, just be smart and keep them up. Like if I just would have kept my pants up at school, I could have done it when I was hanging out with my friends or after school or done whatever. You know, it was just the stupid thing. And I'm just saying it's really hard to fight the law, especially when you're my age, under 18. Well, I am 18 now, but when you're under 18 at that age and you don't even have like any rights because you're a minor, you don't like do anything, your parents are everything above you. I could have just saved me a whole bunch of time if I just actually grew up. So, but to end the story with a happy smile, even though I got my pants zip tied in front of all of my friends, and my teacher called out and said she almost seen my ding dong. And it was lucky. She could have, because those are the kind of boxers that don't button up. They just kind of have that slit, so you can just kind of open up the slit and your thing just like could have fell out. Could have, but thank God it didn't, because that would have been kind of weird of my teacher seeing me naked. So, moving on. It's when I finally, what happened with this is just kind of add on to a little bit to the end of the story is I actually got caught stealing, right before it was almost second trimester. It was about a week and a half before second trimester. And I got caught stealing, and that was my biggest final thing because I had all these little troubles that made me up. But this is the big thing that just added everything up and was like, all right, you got in trouble way too many times, you're done. So they actually kicked me out, suspended me from school until second trimester. But they're like, hey, let's just put them out of public school, and we'll put them in PASS, which is the PASS, it's like a just you. They bring you work to you, but you just sit in a room and you work all day long. And but we'll give them like 2 classes in that pass. So there's 5 hours out of the day. Oh, I only had 1 class. So they gave me 1 class, and then the rest of the day I would just be with in this room for the rest of the day. So what happened is, finally a couple weeks later, or like it was about a month and a half later, they kind of forgot about me too, which is weird to have that kind of glitch in the system. But they call my mom up and they're like, hey, we totally forgot, but we just went over your data and we totally seen your Gage's results over at this public school. I seen he has an A in this class, and I also see that he is doing a great job in his not social studies, but he's doing a great job in his little room. It's study skills. That's what it's called, guys. Study skills. So he's doing a great job in his study skills. Just sitting in his room. He's doing all of his assignments. He's just been great. So I'm thinking we just keep him at this public school and keep him out. So, which was a great thing, because all it took was me to get away from these bad kids and these really bad trouble. I mean, there's like bad kids, but then there's like bad kids. And these kids, like, some of them got in trouble for stabbing people. Some of these kids were dealing drugs on the thing. Some of these kids, I remember once, a bunch of cops had to come in, and he tried to, like, get up and throw his chair and run through, like, out of the classroom, and the cops had to literally tackle him. I've never seen, that was the only time in my life I actually seen a student, or anybody for that matter, get tackled by a cop. It was just insane. Like, these were just some bad kids. So, anyways, finally, after I got pulled out of that class and put in with these kids, I finally found who I was and realized that I love dancing, even though it's and when you're a freshman in high school, people kind of look at that guy dancing, that's faggish, kind of stuff like that. But I finally found myself and finally happy, and I just love high school, and it's been the best 4 years of my life. I found my best friend. I found someone that actually looks to their future and plans to like create a clothing business, and that's what he does. Like, he designed this shirt, guys. He spray painted this shirt. How many people do you know can do this awesome kind of art by spray painting a shirt? And it by the way, it stays on too. You wash it and it stays on. It's amazing. I love it. But anyway, so the point being is about this whole story is I just want to let you guys know, follow your dreams. I love you guys. I'm so glad you watched this. This is a lot more than just my pants getting zip tied. I just want to tell you guys this kind of story because I want you guys to know at one point in my life I was a bad kid, but I finally just stopped for a moment, learned who my friends were. I was at a public school. I looked around and it was just, I had friends. I had people that were planning out their future. I had, you know, there's still bad kids there, but and I'm still friends with, let's say, a couple bad kids nowadays, but I know who I am and I know I stay away from that stuff. So, like, they're kind of bad kids I only hang with outside of school, because if I was outside of school, or if I hang out with inside of school, but if I hung out with these bad kids outside of school, I'm not saying something would happen, but I need to stop babbling on. Point being is, I have my friends, and I have my friends that I hang out with at school. You know, my close friends, the good people, the people I want to spend the rest of my life with, those best friends that you'll never forget I hang out with outside of school. And there's still a bunch of people I want to hang out with that I only hang out with in school. You know, I got to set up dates. They're just kind of busy. I'm kind of busy, I'm saying. But the bad kids, I just kind of let them. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll hang out soon. And they're like, all right, call me. And it's been like months later and I don't call them because they scare me and they might ask me to, like, oh, let's go break into a house. That's fun. I'll be like, yeah, let's do that. Oh, wait, my mom just texted me. I got to go home. Deuces. Anyways, love you guys. Sorry to make this an extra 6 minutes long, but I love you guys and you guys are amazing. Thanks for watching my high school stories. Drop a like for more. Love you.